Welcome to the Nerd Party.
I think people are perverts. I've maintained that. That's the foundation of my career.
Hello, everybody at home, and welcome to House of Fincher. Today, we're talking about a very special film that came out in 2014, which feels like so long ago. And that is David Fincher's last directorial film to date, Gone Girl. And we cannot wait to discuss this with you guys. This is a show about David Fincher's directorial works, and we have been doing this week by week by week, and I can't believe we've made it this far. And I am so happy to take this journey with you guys, as you guys have been with me since the beginning, and we've been with each other. And on my left is Brandon Shea Mutala. How you doing?
I'm doing really good. Just give me a second. I just got to take this pee out of the toilet and put it in this little container.
Okay. Naturally, like you do. I hope you don't mind that I broke your toilet.
No, it's okay. I'm going to just take it and fake my own pregnancy.
Okay. And to my right is the incomparable John Mills.
I'm sitting here contemplating bashing open your head and unspooling your brain and wondering, how have we hurt each other so badly up to this point? What are you thinking? What are you planning? What will we do?
You know, you could just ask me. You know, I don't know.
I got some trust issues going on, though, after everything that's happened. I'm not sure if I'm going to get a straight answer. Got to be honest there.
I mean, okay, so I know that we follow a certain level of we have a rhythm on this show. We're just like, okay, we asked this question, how we were first involved, blah, blah, blah. Then, and then what did you think? Where did we see Fincher and everything like that? But I want to start right off the bat, like, Gone Girl, what the hell? Where did this come from? I want to know what you guys thought right when you were done watching it.
Oh, I want to go first.
Go for it.
I watched this movie and I thought, wow, this is an absolute masterpiece. This is a perfect follow-up to Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. And this is what did I just watch and what just happened to me? Because I knew nothing of this when I went into it. So yeah, I was blown away when I watched this movie, and I thought it was perfection.
John, what about you?
Oh, well, this was a date movie with me and the missus. And, I was vaguely aware that it was based on a book, and I was like, but it was Fincher. So, and 2014, we had a lull in children. And so it was getting a little easier to go out and get babysitting and stuff like that. So it's like, sure, let's go. And so we chose Gone Girl. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is exciting. And I remember being really into the movie. And then the ending happened and all of that stuff. And just at the end of it saying, wow. It was one of those things where the missus really liked it. But I was sitting there in my seat just saying, exclaiming, what? I can't believe how much I enjoyed that. That was amazing. And I was just floored with how much I came at, because the thing is, right, even by this point, right, Ben Affleck hadn't really impressed me as an actor. I didn't have anything against him. I saw Ben Affleck movies all the time, but this was the movie, and I'd never heard of Rosamund Pike before this, never even seen her in anything. And I came out of it, I was like, those are two of the best actors working today. Those actors are absolutely incredible. And Tyler Perry, it blew my mind how great all of the performances were. And so that was my experience. What about you, Tristan?
I just want to note that you have seen Rosamund Pike before. She was in Die Another Day.
I had not seen Die Another Day at that point.
What?
Yeah, I had.
That's so surprising.
Not really, considering how little I liked Tomorrow Never Lies. Or Tomorrow Never Dies.
Tomorrow Never Dies.
Yeah. It was originally whatever.
Straight.
Yeah, no.
Die Another Day is trash.
Yes, it is. I have seen it since, and it's
not
garbage.
Commenting on the quality of it. I just said Rosamund Pike was a Bond girl.
Yeah,
no, it sounded like you said you love Die Another Day to me.
Yeah, nobody loves Die Another Day, not even Die Another Day.
My reaction. I saw this in the theater, and my reaction was kind of the same as you guys, where I was just like, I was like, damn, that was enjoyable. I know that totally popped out. I had no idea why or how. I don't say like, oh, like, hey, listen, you guys.
What's
I'm
a
gonna go
ute?
get the papers. But no, like I was just kind of sitting there, just like, holy crap! It wasn't so much me going, oh, what happened? What's going on? It was really just, damn, I enjoyed that. And so since I kind of dropped it right there that I saw it in the theaters, let's go back to that. So like, the first time I saw this was, I mean, it came like when the like my wife really liked some Gillian Flynn novels, but she hadn't read Gone Girl yet, and of course when it came out that David Fincher was going to be directing it, my wife and I were just like, boom, okay, we're going to be there. And so we went opening weekend, and it was just a lot of hype because, like we, of course, by that time absolutely fell in love with Dragon Tattoo. And this looked like it was done in the same kind of style. Like it was very much Fincher found his modern style and his modern aesthetic. And this really hit it home. And we love that kind of stuff. Like my wife and I love the thriller, the murder mystery, like the crime saga type deal. Like, like the husband did it, but did he really do it? Like we gobble that stuff up on Netflix like crazy. And so this was right up our alley. And like you, John, I was kind of the same, where I wasn't like a Ben Affleck fan, but I had nothing against him. But this one, I was just like, man, holy crap. Why doesn't he do this all the time? And yeah, so I saw this opening weekend in the theater, blown away. My wife and I got a little bit of obsessed with it, where I think this was the only movie that we did this with, but we pre-ordered the Blu-ray, and then the digital version came out, and we're like, oh, crap. And we bought the digital version. So we double dipped before, like, even though it was pre-ordered, because we couldn't wait to watch it. And we watch it every year on July 5th, which is the day that she goes missing.
Right.
And it's also my birthday.
Well, there you go. Well, see,
crazy.
there you go. There's a whole other nice connection. Is if the fact that it's your birthday is just, there you go. There's the secret in as to why you loved it so much.
There you go. That's
yay,
why.
Murder Mystery starts on my birthday.
Yay.
My Blu-ray came with a free copy of the digital copy.
It did. I gave it to a friend of mine.
That's very sweet.
So if I remember my history with Fincher, so I kind of gave up after Benjamin Button, and I'm like, I wasn't really interested in him, and I was there for Girl with the Dragon 2 because the book got me so into it. And after Girl with the Dragon Tattoo came out, I started to go back and revisit Fincher, and I rewatched Zodiac. I didn't like it the first time I saw it, fell in love with it the second time, watched Social Network, fell in love with it, thought it was great. And somehow I missed this in theaters. I just never got around to seeing it in theaters. And I had the Blu-ray copy, and I just decided to put it in one night. It was a Sunday night. I remember it was a Sunday night because I had to work the next day. And my wife was in the basement with me, and she normally doesn't like these kinds of movies, but I put it on at 8 o'clock. And it went until almost 11 o'clock, and my wife didn't leave, and she doesn't normally like these kinds of movies, but we watched it together, and I'm like, wow, that was fantastic. I loved it. And she's like, yes, it was really good. And when I told her I rewatched it for this, because this is my second viewing, she's like, how could you watch that movie again? And I'm like, because it's a masterpiece. And she's like, I know, but it's so disturbing. And I'm like, I know, but it's so great. So she'll never see it again, but I'll definitely watch it again. I like it. I had listened to the commentary less than a year ago. I just listened to the commentary, so I was really looking forward to seeing it again. And yeah, it just completely blew it away. I didn't know that it was a book, so I haven't read the book, so I don't know how the format of the movie compares to the format of the book. I'm interested to hear that because I know that you've read the book, Tristan. You've heard the audiobook and everything like that. I'm interested to check that out because the opening shot, the misdirect to lead you to think that he's guilty is brilliant and makes the twist that much more powerful in the movie because you don't realize that the opening scene of him like contemplating smashing in her head takes place at the end, right? So it was really, really well set up.
Well, actually, the shot that you're talking about in the movie, those are two different shots.
Yes.
But
Like isn't the dialogue like the same?
The dialogue is about the same, but it's actually trying to show you that like at the beginning, it's when Amy had long hair, and before all this craziness happened, and then the last shot echoes that, where she has short hair, so it's after the craziness, him saying the same thing. And so in my mind, it was always kind of saying things kind of got back to where he, let me rephrase that. They could have lived in the same house. They could have just been in separate rooms, and they could have been a co-parents and everything like that. But this shot at the end, with her hair being short, they're cuddling, he's stroking her hair. They found an intimacy again. And I think that's what that shot was trying to convey. Like where that first one is saying like, oh, well, he might be a little maniacal at the beginning. Like, is he guilty? Is he contemplating killing her? And I think it's showing him, he's like, oh, he has a twisted side, but his wife is much more twisted. And at the end, it comes to fruition where she says like when he slams her up against the wall and uses the C word, and she says, he's like, no, I'm it, baby. Like, I'm who you want. And then that last shot says like, oh, maybe it was.
Oh, that's interesting, because I didn't interpret it that way when I saw it, but I'll have to go back and watch it, because if you're going based on the hair length, then that's definitely a detail that Fincher would have paid attention to. So, but yeah, I've always interpreted it that opening scene was a recap of the ending scene, to be a misdirect to put that guilt in your mind, so that the twist is even more powerful when it happens.
I think it does work that way. I think you're right. I think the language that they use definitely is trying to do a misdirect. Absolutely. But I think there's more to it. I think there's more layers to it, is all I'm saying. I think you're right. I'm just saying there's an addendum to it.
I would say that it's definitely an open to interpretation moment. Yes, I think that she calls him out when she says, but this is what you want. Be honest with yourself. You'd be bored with somebody who wasn't me. But I think that there's also I always took the beginning and the end as sort of like a context thing, that it makes you believe that he could have done it in the beginning of the film. But when you see afterward, when he's back at that point again, I don't see it as intimacy coming back. I see it as just the fact that he's back in the exact same place. He's trapped. He's sort of in hell. Everything has changed, but nothing has changed for him. He's trapped. He can't get out. Even if he wants to leave, she's trapped him so completely now at the end that at the beginning, it's more a guy of, boy, you are just you're the worst thing that ever happened to me. I'm miserable. I wish we wouldn't be together. And at the end, and I know this might be uncomfortable to say, but it's a guy who wishes he could kill her, but knows he never can now. Right? Like there's almost a thing of like, I wish I would have rather been in prison than with you, sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's interesting. I think you can take that. Yeah.
But the thing is, like, I've read the book as well, and I thought the book was fine. I didn't consider the book. I read the book after I saw the movie, so I can say that you have to account for certain things. If you read The Godfather before you see The Godfather, which one do you like more? If you read Gone Girl first, if you read Lord of the Rings first, that sort of thing. But structurally speaking, I thought that the novel was very interesting and engaging, but there's something that Fincher brings to the work that makes it more interesting. He manages, I think, to make, let's put it this way. In the book, Amy is a very calculating, awful, terrible person, but I honestly think Fincher brings this understanding of having looked at people like Amy Dunn through the entirety of his career. He's able to give these certain twists and changes and looks at her that he's approaching her the same way that he approached Tyler Durden or even Frank Underwood or other people like that, these master manipulators who you see exactly how much the way you're presented a story shapes your impression of it and your conclusions about it.
Yeah, I was really impressed by the book. Like, I loved the book.
Did you read it first?
I did not. No, I read it after I watched the movie, and I was very much impressed with it. And it's funny because, like, I read Fight Club after I saw the movie, and I love the book as much. Like, I was enthralled by the book. I think the book is fantastic, but the way that Fincher tells a story, he tells it better in certain areas. Same with Gone Girl. So to me, even though I love the book and I think it's amazing and I've read it multiple times, I still like the movie more. It's a little bit of apples and oranges for me, but in terms of telling this one story, I think Fincher just knocks it out of the park.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of like the little changes that he makes, they're throughout. This is again, Fincher's like Hitchcock. It doesn't matter what the source material is; it becomes his movie when he makes it. And like there are little changes he makes that I think just work better. The way that for lack of a better term, the way that the trash couple who finds out about her money in the movie is much more organic and believable is the wrong word, but it's much more organic and flows a lot better with the story than the way it's in the book. Yeah, and so it's like I think little changes like that help.
We also got to give credit where credit is due. That Gillian Flynn, who wrote the book, also wrote the screenplay.
Oh, sure. No, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Because I love it when that happens. I truly do. I think it's one of my favorite books of all time is 25th Hour. And David Benioff, who's a well-known name now, he wrote 25th Hour, and they called him up and said, "We want you to write the movie version." And it was, I think, like, ever since that movie is when I really started paying attention and saying, like, okay, it's based off a book. Did the author write the screenplay? And of course, it's not. It's rare to see, but whenever it does happen, I'm like, maybe I should watch this movie just because I love the translation. I love the challenge of seeing the writer go through of Killing Your Darlings, of a novel that they worked on for a very long time, and that's like a part of their bones. And then they're like, okay, now make it 2 hours or less. And
right.
That I think that's a fascinating thing to watch.
Well, to absolutely give credit to Flynn, she does that. The script for this is it's perfect. I don't know how they could have made it any better of a film. And for that to happen, you have to start with a bedrock that's that you're building on. That's just magnificent, and it is a great script. But maybe it's just that I think that it works better as a film because of the misdirect. Like when I read a novel, misdirects are cool, but they don't really light me on fire, sort of thing. Whereas in a movie, and especially since I hadn't read the book before I saw the film, it caught me completely off guard. That first time I watched it, I didn't see it coming at all.
Yeah.
And usually there's some sort of tip where I'm kind of like, oh, something's not right about this. And then when it flipped and it's like, oh, she's alive, I was like, wait, what? Like just perfectly done.
And that's where we need to give credit to Fincher, because he threw his proverbial fist down on the table and said, no footage from the second half of the film will be used in any trailers. And I love that. He went through every piece of advertising material that was made, and he approved it or disapproved it. He's like, no, can't do that, can't do that, can't do that, can't do that. And because of this great marketing, it kept the surprise. Like there was no way for you to, unless you read the book, there was no way for you to know from the commercials or trailers to guess that Amy was still alive. In fact, they even had that dream sequence of hers where she's floating in the lake, dead.
Yeah.
And I just love that Fincher has that much clout to be able to do that, and has the sense to do it.
how was the format of the book? Like, do you go half of the book before you realize she's still alive?
Yes, like it's done really well where each chapter, it's like the even number of chapters is from Amy's perspective and the odd number of chapters is from Nick's perspective. And it's woven a little bit like the same way where once you get to that point, if I'm remembering correctly, John, it's been a while since I've read it. But the twist is in the middle.
Okay.
Yeah. The twist is in the middle. And, just to get back to the performances, I just, something that always stuck with me with Roger Ebert is that he swore that he would never be overly harsh on an actor about a performance, because he considered it the job of the director to get the right performance from somebody. And so if the performance was off or something like that, he's like, that's more on the director, because the director has the ability to work with and to coach and to do multiple takes and that sort of thing. I don't know if that's 100% true, because of course you can wind up casting somebody and then they're just not quite right, but you can't recast them, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But in terms of the portrayal of Nick Dunn, it's stunning when you encounter people's performances in Fincher films, because you always walk away with the idea there's no other person that could have played that part. And I think that really has a lot to do with the fact that Fincher knows how to get those performances out of people. Like we were all saying, Affleck existed. Affleck was a star. We like Affleck movies, but we never considered him like great acting chops. He's in this movie and it's like, wow, he's Oscar material right here. This is fantastic. And that, I think, has a lot to do with Fincher, of course, but I think that's why the movie works so well, is because Affleck plays that, especially in the beginning, when his sister Mo is sitting there, don't smile, and he like gives that smile, and then the lady takes the picture, and he's just that's how he was raised, smile for photos, and he suddenly realizes, and then when you go back and you apply it backwards, then Amy knows that about him, and completely uses it against him, because she knows he's going to screw up like that. And I think that Affleck is what brings Nick to life a lot. And I think it's entirely possible that I'm judging the book too harshly, because it works so well as a film that, as a result, I just think it just works better in this format. I mean, I'm not saying the book's bad. I enjoyed the book. I just think the movie's just so much better.
You said something there that I want to touch on. I wonder what it would be like if we went back and we looked at all 10 of these movies and we saw who the casting director was for the 10 movies. Because that is one thing about Fincher, is that he does choose like the perfect actor for the role. Like I don't think I can think of one actor in any of his movies that's wrong. And a lot of the secondary characters are what really stands out in his films. Like Tyler Perry in this is like one of the most perfect casting choices ever.
How great is Tyler Perry in this?
He's outstanding. I mean, like, this is Madea, right? Like,
yeah,
and
Medea.
He's just Medea. I haven't seen any of them. I've seen like trailers and stuff.
You're fine just knowing how to pronounce the name. I have seen a Medea movie. It's not particularly good.
But he's perfect. The guy from How I Met Your Mother, Doogie Howser, what's his name?
Oh, Neil Patrick Harris.
Neil Patrick Harris.
Perfect, in his role.
I want you to keep going, but I think he's the one person I think who could have been cast differently, and I wouldn't have minded. I'm not saying he did a bad job. I think he did a fine job, but I think his portrayal could have been done by somebody else. And there's a lot of times when I'm watching a movie and I'm just like, oh man, I can't imagine anybody else in that role. But for some reason with Neil Patrick Harris's performance, I just felt like, no, that job could have been done by a lot of people. And maybe that's not his fault. Maybe that's just the character.
I thought he was perfect. I thought Neil Patrick Harris was amazing in that role. Like, woof.
I saw Barney Stinson so much in it though, and I think that was the problem.
But see, that's the thing.
Barney?
That's the guy from How I Met Your Mother, right?
Okay.
I never watched the show, so I don't see that
I've never seen
at
it
all.
either.
Oh,
like, at
okay.
all.
Yeah. See, like, I'm a huge fan of How I Met Your Mother, and there is so much of that character in this, and I feel like that's why he got the job.
I think that with Neil Patrick Harris, I think that possibly some of what plays into that is that I typically can't see anybody but Neil Patrick Harris when I see him. No matter how good he is, that's who I see. Whereas I actually lose Affleck a couple of times in this film. But we've totally derailed from the whole casting director point and going through. I think that's I think that's a terrific idea, actually, to go back through and look at the casting director and see if it's consistent, because I would imagine that Fincher is enough of a control freak that he'd be like, this person never fails me. Make sure they always get the casting job.
Yeah. And then, like, another perfect role in this is the sister, right? Like, I don't remember her name, but I know her from
Carrie
Leftovers. Karen Kuhn. She
Carrie
was
Coon.
perfect in Carrie Coon. Perfect in The Leftovers. If you guys haven't seen HBO's Leftovers, it's a brilliant show. One of the greatest TV shows ever made.
This was her first movie.
Yeah,
Wow,
I
really?
think. Yeah. I love it. I mean, that'd be an interesting thing to check out the casting director. And then who do we attribute that to? Do we attribute that to Fincher, or do we attribute that to the casting director? You know,
Well,
because
like, here we go. So the casting director for Gone Girl is, I may be mispronouncing that. It's Laray Mayfield. It's Laray Mayfield. And she was the casting director on Social Network, Zodiac, Curious Case of Benjamin Button, Mindhunters. I'm scrolling through right here. Let's see. House of Cards.
So she brings Fincher.
Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
yeah.
That makes sense.
And I keep going. Panic Room, Fight Club.
There you go.
First one was Fight Club. Yeah, he knows her.
Yeah.
And is like, this is my person. This is my casting director.
And to speak to the Affleck point, right? Pitt was still trying to do his transition to serious actor around the time, and Fight Club is what really, like, lit a fire. People saw 12 Monkeys, you know, and stuff like that, but people were still sort of, you know, Brad Pitt hunky. And then it was Fight Club
Right.
that just completely
Beefcake, yeah.
reinvented him. And so, you know, there's great success there.
Now, I do want to talk about Affleck a little bit because, you know, like, I know he gets a lot of crap, and I feel like he's never been able to shake that bro persona.
Right.
You know, like that Boston bully persona. And I think it's unfounded for where he's gone in his career, and how he's grown as an actor and a director and a storyteller. And he has always wanted to work with Fincher. And when he got the chance, he put his other career aspirations on hold. Like, what was that movie, Live by Night? I think was a movie that came out.
Yeah, it's not good. The one where he plays a mobster in like 1920s Florida. Yeah.
Right. He put that movie on hold. Like, that's his baby, and he put it on hold just to do Gone Girl so that he could work with Fincher. And he once was quoted saying that Fincher is the only director that he's ever met who could do the job better than anybody else on the set.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, and it's interesting because when people love the directors that they work with, it's always so much of it that you hear is just press tour stuff. And you hear the same things over and over. Oh, J.J. Abrams is a great guy. He's my buddy. He makes everybody laugh on set. And oh my gosh, he's so funny. Whereas people come out of a Fincher film just, you know, almost like converts to a cause about, you know, how magnificent he is. It's an interesting difference in tone sort of thing. Like throwing the compliment out there, he could do the job better than anybody else on set, is different than, I love him and he's great to work with. You know, like there's a little more authenticity to the compliment there.
Mm-hmm. There was a moment on set where Affleck made a bet with, I think, the DP or somebody, and he's like, let me do something to camera. I bet you that he won't notice or something like that. And he changes the f-stop a half a stop, which can sometimes be barely measurable. And when you have a lot of different screens on, like, they can be at different levels and everything like that. And so it's hard to notice. And immediately Fincher comes back from getting his coffee or something like that, and he sees the screen. He's like, "Why the F is the camera so dark?"
Maybe the thing is that and I know this will sound weird, but like there are people who have like an extra rod or an extra cone or something like in their eye, so they can actually see things like patterns in a little bit more relief. I found this out because I was doing there was some TV show based on like brain games or something like that, and they had this thing come up, and the whole test was like whether you were colorblind or something like that, and it was like, can you see this pattern? And everybody in the room is, I can't see anything. I can't see. And I'm like, no, it's right there. Look. And they say, oh, well, this means you're colorblind. Well, I'm definitely not colorblind, right? And all of this is just to say he might be one of those people that just has like that extra little, perceptor in his eye. So, somebody else, the f-stop changes by that much, and it's kind of like not noticeable to everybody else on the planet. But to like Fincher, his eye is just of the type where it's like, no, he can tell the slightest variation sort of thing. So,
yeah. With Affleck, it's one thing that I always love when I go back and watch this movie, because I've seen it so many times, is I love trying to find the point in the movie where he started working out for Batman v Superman.
Oh, yes. Yeah, yep. Beefy Affleck. There's a similar point in his career between Mallrats and Chasing Amy. Because between Mallrats and Chasing Amy, he was discovered and was going to be in Michael Bay's Armageddon. And so, of course, Michael Bay is like, new teeth, start working out. And so if you look at him in Mallrats and then you look at him in Chasing Amy, you look and you say, wow, what happened? And he actually, he was pretty self-effacing on the Chasing Amy commentary, where he says, oh, you can tell that I'd been cast in Armageddon because I look a lot different. And then like in the Mallrats one, he's like making fun of his weight and the way he looks. He's like, oh man, I hadn't even started lifting weights at this point, like that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. I just love that like halfway through the film, you just all of a sudden he's just like, boom.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man. Speaking of which, it always puzzles me because, so it was Rosamund Pike. She got super skinny for the beginning of the film. Like she lost some weight to start shooting Gone Girl, and then while they were shooting, like when they were shooting her, disappearing herself and going to the Ozarks, she gains I think like 13 pounds, and maybe 15, and then so like while she's in the Ozarks, she's 15 pounds heavier, and then. While shooting is going on, like when she goes back, like when she's with Neil Patrick Harris, she loses 15 pounds again. So this happened during filming, and the entire time I'm just like, why didn't they just film it out of order? Like, why didn't they film like when she was 15 pounds heavier, like at the end of the shooting schedule, so that she can like be skinny for most of it, and then gain weight at the end, and then be like, okay, you're done filming, have fun. Like it's so confusing to me that she cut her weight, gained it, and then cut it again.
Well, it's not entirely healthy to do that either. It's sort of, that's the Robert De Niro method of acting right there, where because he used
Christian Bale.
Yeah. Well, Christian Bale that's the far end of the scale right there. Christian Bale is still, he's a medical like that guy has to have shaved like 15, 20 years off of his life with everything that he's done. Like seriously, he's going to make it to like 60 and his heart's just going to be like, you know what? It's been a good ride. See ya. Like, but, no, she did that just so that she would look more plain when she got to the Ozarks. Cause I know that Amy starts eating, less healthy on the way, and was looking forward to having McDonald's burgers and stuff. But on that journey, I've always found it so interesting and such a character tell that I think gets buried sometimes about the Amy Dunn character, is that she has it planned out that to get back at Nick, she's going to actually kill herself. Just she's going to burn the house down just to prove that he's a jerk. And it's one of those things where it's like, I can't even imagine somebody having the wherewithal that's part of their master plan is, and then I'll drown myself in a lake with rocks in my pockets, and that'll show them. And it's like, wow, I can't even wrap my head around how diabolical that is.
Yeah, because that's like, that almost defeats the purpose, because she wants to get out of the marriage, right? So, I mean, like, yeah, I guess they couldn't throw him in jail without a body, but wow, you're going to end your own life to end his.
I don't even think it wasn't about getting out of the marriage. It was about making him pay.
Right.
It was about sending him to jail and getting him the death penalty.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, the icing on the cake to solidify that, like, yeah, she's actually dead. Like, I feel like she wanted to see it and see that happen. She wanted to see. It wasn't so much like, oh, I'm dumping you. She could have done that any time. She had the position of power. She had the prenup. She had the money.
I understated what I meant, but yes. Like,
okay, I got you.
Like, yes, she, like, the whole goal was, yes, the death penalty and everything. Yes.
But see, what's fascinating as well, and such a character tell as well, and this is where I give Pike so much credit for her performance, because she's phenomenal. I completely believe her through this whole thing, completely and utterly. She is Amy Elliott done, but just this whole thing of this is her revenge, because her husband, who she hates and who hates her, she finds out he's cheating on her. Well, most people's reaction is you have one of two courses. You get into marriage counseling and you fix it, or you divorce. Those are your two options. But for her, there's this third option that culminates with this. And but the thing is, it's not even so much that he's cheating on her, because the thing she fixates on is that he does the same thing with his girlfriend that he did with her on their first date. And that's the violation to her. Is it isn't even so much the infidelity, it's that the small intimate thing that she considered her possession. You know, they can walk out of that marriage, they can be unhappy, but that moment was always theirs. And then he took that one special remaining sacred moment, and she saw him violate it, that it meant nothing to him. And that's what sets her off. That's what I think is really fascinating.
Yeah, she's nuts. She's an insane character.
Okay, so an insane character. I'm glad that you said that, because Gillian Flynn, the author of the book and the writer of the movie, she has been getting a lot of heat, or got a lot of heat, when Gone Girl got like super and uber famous, when the movie came out, because most of the villains, if not all of the villains in her books, are women. And in Gone Girl, she uses a lot of, like a lot of, I'm trying to word this appropriately. Let me just tell you the complaint. A lot of people,
we're all friends here. Come on, just be loose. Come on.
This violates the Me Too stuff, right?
Yeah, it's showcasing a woman who lies about being raped, who lies about abuse, who lies about an abusive husband, who lies about a pregnancy, who traps a man with a pregnancy, does all these anti-feminist things. Yeah. And like you said, like anti-Me Too movement before the Me Too movement happened and everything like that. And so people are like, oh, well, she's secretly a chauvinist. She's an anti-feminist. Why is she doing this? This is disgusting. And Gillian Flynn came out, I think, with a very, very good response, where she said that, like writing, like feminism is not just this is her words. Feminism is not just about girl power and you go girl, and and things like that. It's about having the ability to write complex and disgusting women, like have evil female characters, but don't just make them caricatures and dismiss them as being bitchy. Like, these are like, they're not just and again, her words, they're not just like, you can just call someone a crazy bitch and dismiss them. Again, her words. But that's not what she does with her characters. Like, Amy Dunn might be a psycho, but she's complex and she's interesting and she's fascinating and she's cold and calculated and she's layered. And that's what Gillian Flynn loves about her. And that's what's great about Gillian Flynn characters, is that they can be all those things and be women.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, there's also, okay, and I guess maybe I'll be as delicate as I can, but life is more interesting when you acknowledge that anybody can be this broken, that anybody can be this angry, that anybody can be like that. No one type of person has, a trademark on their reactions or feelings to certain things. And what I mean by that is this film really is an analysis of a woman's reaction to that violation, being cheated on.
Right.
And we've seen so many different reactions. We've seen Glenn Close come after Michael Douglas. We've seen Basic Instinct, and it's typically a femme fatale, super sexy, using sex as a weapon sort of thing, or she's broken and crying in The Single Mother, or she stabs somebody, or blah blah blah, or she turns to drugs, or what have you. This is one where her reaction is one of super villainy. Like at the end of it, you have, and I think even Nick has, this grudging respect for what she's done, where it's not good, it's not positive. There's no way you can compliment it. But at the same time, you have to say, damn, okay, you are formidable.
And that's what Tyler Perry did. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Like Tyler Perry,
You guys
like
have
Tyler
one
Perry's
effed up
laughing at it.
relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why he's so great in that role, is that line delivery when he's laughing. He's like, oh, this is just too much. He just, you see him just give up. And he's like, I can't help you. I did my part. Bye.
And he can laugh it off because he's like, I'm done. And once I get on that plane, I don't have to think about it ever again.
Yeah.
But you're very right in that she is a layered and complex character, because she is very calculating. I mean, when she recalculates, when she's in Neil Patrick Harris's house there, and she's like, okay, how can I get out of this situation now? And she completely flips everything around. And you know just how messed up this person is when we get the shot looking through the home security camera, and she's like screaming at the window after he leaves that one day.
Yep.
Like early on, it's just like, you get how insane this woman is, but yet how smart she is and how manipulative she is just in that 1 second. That's when you're like, this woman is crazy good at what she does. And that's the scene that really blew me away when I saw it the first time.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that whole section.
Okay.
So we all know what I'm about to talk about.
Sure do.
So the murder of Desi.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How did you guys react to that, John? In the theater, or like during your date night, how did you react? Did you see it coming?
No. I
No?
didn't see it coming at all. I turned my eyes away from the screen because, again, I think I've made this disclaimer before, especially when we were talking about the violence in Dragon Tattoo. I grew up watching horror movies, gore fests, but I have a limit, and it's like, I don't like the hostile type stuff, but I watched, Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers. I've seen stabbings. I've seen, Tom Savini work his magic on all of these different things. I've seen monster movies, but that scene is so well staged and so realistic and so sociopathic when she flips him over and holds his hands down so that he can't put pressure on his neck or anything. And the blood is spraying all over her. And it's, even rewatching it now, I can't even watch the whole thing because it just turns my stomach, because it's so, I've never seen anybody killed like that. I want to put that disclaimer out there, but I imagine that if I did, this is probably what it would look like.
That the thing that makes that scene is, number one, the music.
Yeah.
And number two, it's the editing and how it fades to black and fades back in and fades out and fades in. It's just the combination of the music and the editing that it chose to do is what puts that scene over the top. And it's perfection. You know, when we get to the point of where do we see Fincher in this, that's where I see Fincher in this. That touch, that music. Because again, Reznor and Ross just make the music, and he puts it wherever. They just like, here's music for you, put it in the movie. And so to put that music in that scene with that type of editing knocks it out of the park.
When I saw this in the theater, you guys know that I do enjoy a good theatrical experience, but I don't have to have it. Like I'm just as happy to watch a movie at home. But this is one of those times I was very, very content to be in a movie theater, because that scene specifically on the big screen, just having the subwoofers and the great speakers and the theater go completely black every single time it dips to black. It just, the feeling, the vibe, the room, no one was talking, no one was eating popcorn, no one was swigging a drink, no one was checking their phone. Everybody was enraptured. And I don't know take this for whatever it means. I have no idea what this means, but there are certain times when violence is done well. But like this scene, like after I was on the edge of my seat, and when it was done, I was just like, yes, oh, that was awesome. Like I was enraptured by how crazy she was, how great the performances were from both of them, how fearless the editing and direction it was, and how they all just threw each other into it. The vibe, just everything was perfect.
It was perfect.
Now, okay, so speaking of which, you talked about where you saw Fincher. So you this would be your example, Brandon, of where you saw Fincher.
Yes.
Was this scene.
Yeah. And then with the casting, I don't know, do we count that as him or do we count that as her? But, you know, again, the casting in this is perfection. Not to mention the woman from Deadwood. I don't remember her name too, but the investigator.
Kim Dickens.
Oh, I love Kim Dickens. She's so good.
Honestly, everybody was so great. It really was.
Yeah.
This was every time I start this movie, and like when I watched it last night with my wife, like right when the credits were rolling by, my wife mentioned, she's just like, damn, what a cast. Like just everybody was perfect. And Carrie Coons, I love how Affleck played it younger and Carrie Coons played it older, because they're 9 years apart in age, but yet they're supposed to be playing twins.
Yeah.
And I was immediately in love with her. I think she's so fantastic, and I have no idea why she was in Infinity War. That was just so strange to me. Yeah.
Who was she in Infinity War?
She was a completely CGI character. She was one of Thanos' goons. Like she was the female goon with the staff and like the horns, like purple with the white across her face.
Oh,
like she gets beat up by Scarlet Witch, and
she was never whatever.
It was a complete waste. It was a complete waste of a phenomenal actress.
Yeah. Now, hold on. I'm going to take exception to that. Marvel never does anything wrong. I've been assured of that. But in terms of when I saw Fincher in this, it would actually be the Sugar Snowfall thing when he gives her the kiss. That's where I saw Fincher. But if I was unsure at that point, because I just think that's such an incredible, because he manages to even have the pale effect, so that when he moves his fingers on her lips and everything about that is so perfectly staged. But then as soon as I got to, boy, this is borderline softcore pornography in this scene, I was like, that's David Fincher right there. Because if there's somebody who doesn't shy away from a sex scene, it's gonna be that guy.
He actually, in the commentary, he talked about that moment where he put that in specifically, and I'm gonna keep it, PG-13 rated here. But he's like in the movie, like in the script, Fincher knows that he's like, you're gonna grow to hate this guy, and you're gonna like at the beginning we're just like, did he do it? Did he not? And then we show him cheating. And then we show him throw her around. Is it real? Is it not? And he's like, I really need audiences to like him. I really need women to like him. And so he's like, here's something like, this is a man who does that and then does it well. And so like he wanted like the women in the audience to go, okay.
Which
Bravo.
Just plays to the film's theme of how easily you can be manipulated in your opinion of people. So there you
Absolutely.
go. There you go.
And I just think that's absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
But when I saw Fincher, I always give a cop out because it's just I see him so much in his angles. I see him so much in how he moves the camera or doesn't move the camera. And I think the understated lighting was very him. Like there's so many underlit scenes where, I mean, if you were actually there, that's what it would look like.
Right.
Like it would be dark. And so I think there was a lot of scenes in I think it was the color and the lighting with the flashback scenes of the beginning of Nick and Amy's relationship. I think that's where I was just like, oh yeah, that's Fincher. That's Fincher.
And it really is something because this is definitely a film that really his whole ability to make lighting seem as natural as possible really jumps out at you, because it really is a skill. Because there are plenty. I forget what I was watching some movie. Actually, it's a pretty good movie from '82 called The Sender. It's an interesting horror film that actually has Paul Freeman, Belloc from Raiders of the Lost Ark in it. But it.
I have the soundtrack for that.
Oh, of course you do. And Trevor Jones, but he in the film there are a couple of scenes that are, like nighttime scenes, and seeing it after I saw Gone Girl was such a reminder of how hard it is to light nighttime stuff so that it looks right. And yeah, like that stuff, you would point to the flashback stuff, but then you see that scene in the actual snow where he's kissing his girlfriend and Amy sees him. The lighting on that is stunning. But that's a thing where it looks like that's what it would look like if I were sitting in the car with Amy and looking at a guy kissing somebody in the snow.
I think that's really funny that you point to that scene, because that scene was purposefully made to look ethereal and fake.
Doesn't look fake to me.
That's so interesting. That's so interesting. I mean, the lighting, where how like the overhead light, like they were that they were under, and how it hits the snow and everything like that. But like he purposely did it in a semi slow motion where the snow was fake itself, and he slowed it down, so that it would give kind of like a dreamlike thing.
Well, I mean, maybe he spoke to all of those wonderful times when I kissed women under, street lights in the snow. But I'm talking about the not necessarily the speed or anything like that. Like that's how standing under a street light looks.
Yes, 100%. You're absolutely right on that one. And I don't think people realize how hard it is. Like you said, like I'm echoing what you're saying, like how hard it is to do natural lighting, make things look like natural lighting. When you underlight something to make it feel more realistic, because like if two people are sitting right before sunrise in their apartment and they don't have any lights on, it's not going to look like there's a spotlight coming out of nowhere.
Right.
Like it's going to be dark, but you still need to see them. That's hard to do. And John, I want you to preemptively get all the way off of my back when I use this example. If you want to see an example of bad lighting where they try to make it look naturalistic, but it just looks like the DP forgot to bring his lights, watch Solo. Because the color and the lighting, they try to go for a naturalistic approach, but everybody just felt like they were wearing sunglasses. And that's the opposite of what Fincher does.
Respectfully disagree, but that's okay.
I know you like the movie, but
it's not just liking. And you know what? This is not a podcast series about the tremendous work of Bradford Young and Ron Howard. We can shelve that for later. But it's what's really interesting is from here, it's almost like a feeling of when we first encountered Fincher on screen he's dealing with the future, with an alien, with, Ripley, with all of this stuff. And ever since then, he has only stayed in the real world, except for arguably the game. He has a little bit of fun with the real world sort of thing. But like, there's a real world fascination and obsession going on here, and he's obviously mastered that. Do you guys have any desire to see him try to leave this real world and go back to that futuristic or that other sort of thing? Or do you want him just to stay here in the real world with all of his characters?
It's tough to answer that question because, it's like I asked this poll on my Hitchcock podcast Twitter feed. I'm like, what technology do you think Hitchcock would have had the most fun with had he been around? Surround sound, 3D technology, like what do you think? Digital technology, digital camera work, what do you think he would have done? Because Hitchcock is always trying new things. Now Fincher has mastered this type of storytelling, but it's like I would love to see a science fiction movie by him because of what he would do. Like, as much as I don't love Prometheus, I think it's a really, truly beautiful movie, and it looks really cool. And I love what Ridley Scott did with it. I love the look of the planets, the look of the space, all of that kind of stuff. I would love Fincher to do something like that again, but it's like, this is kind of his niche. So, like, do we risk him venturing out of that niche again, or do we just let him keep doing what he does best?
You know what's really interesting is I almost wonder, because I would say all three of us also love Nolan, right? Yes, fair enough.
Oh yeah.
Nolan is in that hyper real, that sort of like fantasy reality sort of thing. And he similarly is obsessed with his shots and his lighting and stuff like that. So it's almost like the two of them are flip sides of the same coin in terms of how they approach things. Like you could hold up their approach to stuff and see so many similarities, but then see these just minor divergences. And, Nolan is the guy that goes to Interstellar, that goes to, Tenet, or plays around with the idea of reality and the Prestige and stuff like that, or uses montage to screw with you in the Batman trilogy and stuff like that, and Inception. And it's just interesting because I would like to see Fincher dip his toe. He's the type of storytelling, I don't want him to try to become Nolan. I want him to have this sort of Gone Girl type laser focus on story, but then go somewhere off planet with it, or alternate reality with it, or even have him go back in time. Like, since he's such a master with natural lighting and everything, I'd love to see him go do like a Jack the Ripper movie. He loves serial killers, obviously. So do a Jack the Ripper movie, nighttime, Whitechapel and the nighttime murders and all of that stuff. That seems like a Fincher type of thing to do.
Well, for years, he tried to get 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea to be made. Like, that was his passion project for a very long time.
Didn't give it to him?
I don't know the whole story, but he tried forever to get that movie made, and he was trying to get Brad Pitt into it and everything like that, and he got so fed up with it, he dumped it and then did Gone Girl.
That's incredibly frustrating to me, because that would be amazing. That would be fascinating, and that would be interesting. And the idea that somebody wouldn't give, like, I understand Fincher isn't a $2 billion baby, the way that, people in the Marvel franchise are and stuff like that. But what executive is sitting there and David freaking Fincher comes up to you and says, I want to make a movie with your property. And the executive hems and haws and says, I don't know if he's the right fit. Like, I'm an executive sitting in an office and David Fincher comes in and he's like, I want to make him. What do you want? What, $100 million. Here you go. Start your movie right now. Yeah. Cancel 5 projects. Give them all, that money goes to Mr. Fincher's account right now. Like, who doesn't say yes to him? Doesn't make sense.
So here's the check. That number here is blank. You put the number in.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go.
Right. Yeah.
Like, I'm super happy that Gone Girl was such a commercial success. Like, not only was it critical success, and a technical success, it was commercial. Like, it made a lot of money. Like, people really liked it. Like, not just super film fans liked it. Like, a lot of people enjoyed it. And I love it when that happens. I don't think it's necessary to enjoy a film, but I like that it happens when it happens.
Well,
And
when stuff like this is successful, it encourages other stuff like this to get made. So
Right.
that's the only reason to cheer it on.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's so utterly strange that this is the last podcast we're going to record about a Fincher movie until Mank comes out.
Mm-hmm. Well, he put so much time into Mindhunter, like it's like, he's developed this relationship with Netflix with House of Cards.
Mm-hmm.
And, he gets a lot of flexibility, I think, with TV. Like, TV nowadays allows you to do some really interesting stuff. And while Netflix is not exactly TV, it's done in the same format, just released differently. And I think that he's really kind of found his niche. He's found his company that he wants to work for. Mank is going to be a Netflix production. I think that we're going to see a lot of things released this way by him. I mean, Soderbergh has released a few things through Netflix recently, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, Netflix gives these people a little bit more leeway, I think, than some of the studios do. They let them do what they want. And this is what a lot of these auteurs are looking for. They want some freedom because they've proven themselves. Like, I can't imagine somebody messing with Fincher saying, we want to do this, we don't want to let you do that, because he knows what he's doing. Somebody like Nolan knows what he's doing. Somebody like Soderbergh knows what he's doing. Let them be who they are. Let them do what they excel at.
But this is what's interesting, right? Is we all came up. We're of an age where we all came up where the auteur was the person making the blockbuster, right? The person with the singular vision, quote unquote, was the guy making the blockbuster. Whereas blockbusters now are it doesn't matter who directs Thor 4, really. You could make an argument either way. But like there's an individuality to Fincher and Soderbergh and Nolan and these people that I think isn't favored because we've transitioned. Just the landscape is different, and so I just want to be as happy as I can be that Fincher can even exist in this landscape. If anything, my hope is that with more and more platforms and more opportunities to create, people like Fincher will get more prominence and more opportunity because they're going to be starved for content. They need content. And so somebody like Fincher can, I'm not saying somebody like Fincher as in David Fincher himself. I'm saying somebody with a similar sort of approach, like, Josh and Benny Safdie. God bless him for having the huge critical and commercial success of Uncut Gems. But regardless of that commercial success, now they can actually exist in the current environment. And, I think that's nothing but a good thing.
Yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm. I mean, like, forget what Spielberg said. Like, stuff on Netflix is film.
Yeah.
Right? Like, this is film, and this is the new way. Like, this is the way of things being released. We're going through a time right now where theaters may be struggling to survive. We don't know. We've got some debates behind the scenes on whether or not that's going to happen. But I mean, in this wake of the coronavirus, I mean, we don't know. The landscape of watching films in a theater is changing. And it is going to change. And Fincher didn't see the coronavirus coming, but he did see this transition away. And I think that that's what he saw. And I think that's why we haven't seen him in so many years do a film, is because he saw that the distribution model is changing.
And he helped change it with House of Cards.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he proved it was, which is interesting because Brandon, you mentioned, Soderbergh. Soderbergh was, I think, the first guy to do the simultaneous online and in theater release. So he saw it coming too. So. But Fincher is the one that, for all intents and purposes, Soderbergh cracked the door open and was like, "Hey guys, look at this." And Fincher is just like, shoots the lock off the door, kicks it in, and he's like, "Here it is now." Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
There's actually a Soderbergh connection in the movie.
Oh, really?
Yes, there is. I know it. Ah!
The vodka bottle that Affleck is drinking from, like right before he slams the glass down in front of Kim Dickens, that's Soderbergh's label.
Singani 63.
Oh, no kidding.
And that's his vodka. And what's even more hilarious is that his original intention was to have that be the bottle that Amy Dunn abuses her cervix with.
Oh,
And just as a oh yeah, sure, Soderbergh, I'll put it in the movie. Yeah. I'll put it in. But Rosamund Pike opted for a much classier wine bottle instead.
yeah. Well,
I think that's
I wasn't paying
freaking
attention
hilarious.
to the label. I was more horrified than any. I was. Oh no!
I guess she's relaxing with a bottle of what is she doing?
Yes.
So many great moments. So many great moments of this movie.
So because we're getting along to that time, I think it's fair to say we all think this is a 5-star film.
I'm
It's a
4.5.
five-star film.
4.5, really? Why doesn't it clear that last little hurdle?
There's some editing mistakes that really bother me.
Interesting. See, for me, it's like a 4 to 4.5 star movie until the ending. Because just about every other director that I can think of would have left it with she comes back, who knows what the future is going to hold, fade to black. But this one comes back and shows everybody's in hell. Tyler Perry's laughing on his way to the plane. Police can't help you anymore. Your opportunity to leave is gone. And this is life now. This is your life. And it's ending 1 minute at a time. That's what pushes it to a 5-star for me, is it's just that it sticks the landing so incredibly well that I just... like if you ended it before the last 20 minutes, I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah, that was really good. I really like that. But that last 10, 15 minutes, I'm like, this is the best movie I've seen in years.
I think I probably could. I mean, you probably could argue me or bully me, whatever you want to say, to make this a 5-star film, because my level of enjoyment is, damn, this is a great movie. This is one of my favorites. I watch it all the time. But I don't like that. Really isn't my criteria for a 5-star film. I one thing that I always ask myself is, would I have done anything differently? And there's a few things I would have done differently with Gone Girl, but it's not make or break for me, And like those editing things just really bug me, and so that's why it's just that 0.5 star off for me.
Well, can I get an example? And I'm not doing that in that challenging way of like, well, how would you make a movie? I'm saying like, what would be an example of one of those editing mistakes? Maybe it's something that I just glossed past because I wasn't looking close enough or something.
This is going to sound really pedantic, and I understand. Like, people are going to be rolling their eyes at home listening to this, and you know what? I deserve it. Okay, so like, I am not trying to shield myself from your hate. But I was and am an editor, and I've been so for 15 years. But there's one cut in the Riverboat Casino where Desi sees Amy for the first time, and Amy starts to cry, and we're on a shot of Desi. I think it's a single, or it's an over the shoulder, and then it immediately cuts to Desi sitting down, and it almost looks like an awkward jump cut. And they show the passage of time where Amy told the story of the movie that you just saw, and Desi's just like, oh wow, oh man, that's crazy, and it's absolutely jarring. It is so jarring that it takes me out of it. It makes me blink because I'm like, that was such an awkward cut. Why did that happen? And then another one where when Amy is getting out of the cop car at the end. Also, why the hell? She's covered in blood and she was checked out of the hospital. Really? They're not going to clean her up before they send her home with somebody else's blood on her? Anyway, but there's a shot where the camera is attached to the police car's door and you see her through the glass. Ben Affleck gets out of the car and opens up the door. For about half a second, I'd say about 12 frames, maybe less, you see the door open and it moves. but it doesn't complete a move. It looks like a mistake. And so it jostles the camera just a little bit, and then they cut to an exterior shot, and you see Ben Affleck open the door fully. And so it wasn't a smooth shot. It wasn't a continuation shot. It looked like a jarring mistake that nobody noticed.
See,
I noticed that one.
My reply to anything like that is, if I can live with the blue milk jumping from Luke's left to right hand 3 times in a scene, I can let that slide too.
Well, see, this one, I can forgive continuity errors. Like, that's different. That's a continuity error. Like, I can forgive that because it's a movie. But editing mistakes, I can't really forgive when you are living with an edit for that long and you have so many people check it, and you have someone at the caliber of Fincher and his editor. Who did this? Oh, he's good. But like, I expect more from him and Fincher when it comes to editing mistakes.
Well, hopefully this review gets Mr. Fincher's attention, and he can send you a love letter.
We all know David's listening.
Yeah, David, drop us a line.
This was actually because of this film, this made me switch to Adobe Premiere, the editing program, as an editor, because Fincher's editor edited this on Adobe Premiere, which not a lot of filmmakers do. Like, not a lot of Hollywood filmmakers edit on Premiere. At least they didn't at the time. And I was watching an interview with him and his editor, who I'm blanking on a name. I apologize. And they said, they're like, oh yeah, like Fincher loves shooting in high resolution 4K, 6K, and you can use Adobe Premiere, and it doesn't have to transcode the file. You just drop it in the editor, and it's just works, and you just start working. And I was like, oh sweet, okay, I'll give it a shot. And I've edited with that ever since. And it's one of those things where Fincher's not only, affecting my entertainment enjoyment, he's also affecting my work life and career.
Well, I mean, maybe what you could do is you could make a fan edit of the film where you remove that editing mistake that's driving you nuts, and post that online and direct it to David, and he can get in touch with you.
Release the Riddell cut.
This is such a passive aggressive film Twitter-esque conversation where I talk about how pedantic I'm being. I admit that I'm being pedantic and nitpicky, and I mention 2 things, and you're just like, oh, okay, whatever. Why don't you go make your own Gone Girl then?
Well, I think you could also carbon copy Kirk Baxter, who was the film editor.
Oh, Kirk Baxter, right? Crap.
I can't believe that Kirk let you down.
Who was like he had an editing partner in previous Fincher films? Was it Angus Wall? Like, it used to be the 2 of them.
Honestly, you're lucky that IMDb was able to cough up Kirk Baxter as quick as it did. So, I don't know.
All right, we should probably, we've been going on for a long time. We should probably wrap this up. So 5 stars from you guys, 4.5 from me, and is there anything else that you guys want to say before we wrap up?
The music is better than Girl with a Dragon Tattoo.
Agree.
I don't know if I'd go that far, guys. Let's not get crazy here.
I agree with Brandon, just because this is a soundtrack I could put on and listen to while I'm working. But more so than Dragon Tattoo. As much as I love Dragon Tattoo's score, this would be.
I do
one
have
that
the
I'll
vinyl
default
of
to.
this one.
Of course you do.
I do have the vinyl of Gone Girl, and I wish I had the vinyl of Dragon Tattoo, but they made only a few, very limited release, and I'd have to spend 300 bones in order to get it. And I'm just like, I love the movie, but I don't know if I love it that much.
Yeah, 300. No, that's a little much. That's a little much. It also just ruled it out of your birthday gift contention with that price tag. So
did I though?
Yes, yes, you did.
Fine.
Maybe not.
All right. Thank you guys so much for listening and being with us on this journey to Mank. We still have a few more episodes, and I'm super excited to what we're going to be talking about next, because next week we're going to be talking about Mindhunter Season 1, specifically the episodes that Fincher directed, and he directed more Mindhunter episodes than he did House of Cards. So this is going to be a lot more material to work with and a lot more fun to work with. And so please go to thenerdparty.com and check out our back episodes, our back catalog, and all of our other shows on the network. We got something for everyone. We got Star Wars shows, Star Trek shows, Babylon 5, movie, TV, books, everything you can think of, everything for the nerd in your life. And we're coming at you with new content every single day of the week. You can find us on social media. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Just search The Nerd Party or find us at Join Nerd Party. Now, Brandon, where can we find you on the interwebs?
You can find me on Twitter at Brandon Matella. You can find me on Trek FM with a show called The Line, which is all about Star Trek Picard. You can find me on the United Federation of Podcast Network with a show called Franchise Fatigue with my friend Zach. We cover movies, remakes, and sequels. And last, you can find me over on the Fandom Podcast Network with a show called Good Evening, an Alfred Hitchcock podcast, where we go over all of Hitch's films in chronological order.
Yes, and you can find me online as Kessel Junkie. Trying to break my Twitter addiction, so maybe you should connect with me over on Letterboxd. And you can also find me here on the Nerd Party Network co-hosting Aggressive Negotiations, a Star Wars podcast that I co-host with Matthew Rushing, where we talk about a whole bunch of, non-traditional topics about Star Wars. That's what I'm going with this week. What about you, Tristan?
You can find me all over the internet under the name The Insane Robin. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, but mainly Letterboxd, and mainly this website, thenerdparty.com. I have 2 archive shows, one Punch It, Writing in Star Trek, and another Nerd Nuptial, which is a show that I hosted with my wife, and we have a lot of Fincher talk on there. So just go ahead and go to thenerdparty.com/nerdnuptial and search Fincher. And also, if you want to write us a letter, we would love to hear from you. So all you have to do is go to thenerdparty.com/contact, select House of Fincher from the menu, and then fill out the form and send us an email. And also, please, if you have the time, give us a review on iTunes or wherever you listen. It really helps us out. Thank you again so much for listening and being with us. And we hope that you tune in next week for House of Fincher.
Join the revolution. Join the Nerd Party.